I am a volunteer with Just in Time. It's been about a little over 2 years that I've been volunteering here. I started with the College Bound program, and then I did My Life, My Story last year. Yeah, I moved to San Diego right before that, and as soon as I got here, I just wanted to sign up for volunteer ops.
So, what is it you're doing now?
Right now, I'm doing software sales, and I'm a sales development representative. So basically, I'm generating leads for my company that, business that they can close, or that I was a recruiter before that.
Those are very forward-facing, people-oriented positions.
Yes.
Like, were you always inclined to work with people?
Yeah. I didn't know what I wanted to do all through college. I majored in business because it was safe. And then I just knew I wanted to work with people, something with people. I've always liked psychology and like personality types and astrology and just like the idea of reading people. So just something people oriented. And then I was working with a staffing agency. I was looking to them to help me find a job. And then they actually were like, oh, we actually have a job internally. So that's how I got into it. Yeah. And then I was like, I was never good at school. So when I was there, I mean, I just didn't have any confidence in my skills or anything, but I actually did pretty well. I was promoted twice in that job. And that just showed me that I do have some sort of like skill sets, and it made me more confident.
Did you expect that going into the job?
No, I did not. I mean, I had just graduated college, barely got a 2.7, and then spent 4 months looking for work. And so, the confidence was probably at its lowest just because I didn't know what I wanted to do, didn't know what I was good at, didn't know how I would find a job. So it just happened. But obviously I didn't do it alone. They helped me a lot. They trained me, and I matured in my time there, my 3 years there. So yeah, it was a good opportunity for me.
Nice. What would you say about you having done that, like, set you apart from other people, like, to be able to do so?
Good question. I do agree with you. It was a lot of work, and it's easy to burn out in that environment. I think what set me apart was that I just had a really strong, for me, it was like my sense of urgency, and then my ability to handle a lot of things at once, I guess, like manage a lot of different things at once, because I was doing recruiting, sales, account management, I was closing deals, I was generating leads. It was a lot. It was the most I've ever done in any job at that job. I just also felt a lot of pressure because everything I did, like my colleagues' success depended on me and vice versa. And so some of that anxiety made me just do a lot more than I thought I was capable of. But that was good because it showed me what I'm capable of. And the micromanaging kind of, I had unrealistic expectations and I met them, and that was cool because if I was never pushed that far, then I never would have seen that. It's not a sustainable way to manage, but at the time it just helped me to grow.
So you also have interest in psychology.
Yes.
And dealing with people, obviously psychology plays a part. But where do you see your future as a professional going? Do you see it entailing more psychology stuff?
That's a really good question. That's why I switched to sales rather than recruiting, because I feel like the psychology matters a little bit more. But same as when I was in college, I don't really know what 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line looks like. I just want to build my skills right now in order to be able to do whatever I want. So if I want to continue working for another company, great. Otherwise, if I want to start my own business, I have sales skills, which is very, necessary for that. Regardless, people skills can get you anywhere. There's so many opportunities just by having a good network and people skills. So it's more about the skill building, and that's why I took a pay cut to be at this job, and why I changed my career, halfway through. So yeah, I think that's what's most important to me right now.
Wow, that's really good. Because I truly believe that the most valuable skill that exists is communication skills. Mm-hmm. And that's to say, someone might say, oh, what about engineering, or what about this skill or that? Well, if you can communicate well enough to convince someone else to do the skill that they have, then you can, with communications, get anything done.
Exactly. It's also the persuasion and manipulation aspect. Not really manipulation, but just understanding how to like push people in a certain direction, and I like all of the aspects of it, the dark ones and you know uh, the taboo ones. So yeah, it's just interesting to learn about too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So with where you're at now, you're traveling the world now.
Mm-hmm.
Did that adventurer sort of vibe start with you in LA, or did it come afterwards? Because
Um,
before you had mentioned like how fun LA was for you. So I was wondering, is there a connection there from LA to worldwide travel?
it's not LA. It's I was privileged to grow up traveling, and so and my parents both worked full time, and then when they had a break or we had summer break, we would go for a week somewhere. I also grew up with my family all over the world, so I have family in like Hong Kong, Thailand, Africa, India. So a lot of the times we'd go to Hong Kong or something cool, like there was a wedding in Thailand. So I grew up lucky enough to travel with my family, and that just kind of stuck with me. I remember when I was with them, I just always thought, oh my gosh, I want to do this alone, or I want to do this by myself. Yeah, I just want to do this like as an adult where I have the freedom and can do whatever I want here. And yeah, so that just stuck with me. And then just like the confidence of being able to figure out an airport situation and credit card miles and all that sort of stuff is just.
Some of those impactful experiences, maybe like to sell to the people here who are listening that you should travel. Like, what are some life changing or positive experiences that you've had traveling?
I mean, just like seeing the way other people live, seeing, poverty in other countries, or just how lucky we are in this country by seeing what it looks like in a third world country, or even just having that time to explore nature or whatever it is. There's so many different things that you can do when you travel, and it just helps you to like open your mind and expand. It's so funny because whenever someone asks my favorite vacation, it's actually Lake Powell, which is not even, out of the country or anything. But we stayed in a houseboat and we slept under the stars on the roof, and my dog was there. And like, it was just a really nice nature unplug sort of vacation. I was so young too. So that was like, even though it wasn't, halfway across the world, it was really fun. And then least favorite. Oh, okay. Well, I'm Indian, but I've only been to India once when I was 3. And only thing I remember from that was that they told me to pee in a bucket, and I was so terrified, like I didn't want to do it. So probably that, but I need to go back to India and like spend a long time there and learn about my culture for sure.
Living where we do now in like a city in America, we can feel like such a part of like a cog in a system, you know?
A what?
A cog in the system.
Oh,
Like we're just running the same routines
yeah.
and driving the same route in traffic every day at the same time where the traffic hits this like capacity.
Yep.
We get home at this time and we do this thing. We walk the dog at this time. I'm wondering if any of those traveling experiences sort of put that into perspective for you.
Going down recently, I went to Vietnam, Bali, and Hong Kong all in one, just a month-long trip, and that really helped me to just get out of my routine and be like, oh my gosh, why am I always like speed racer over here doing things and working so hard for just to, pay my bills and all this stuff. And it just really takes you out, and it shows that people can be happy living a simple life and just being in nature and just having a few days to not need to be on your phone or to not even be around people just was really nice to remind me that there's more to life than just like work and money and all those things. So it helps with that too, for sure, if you're trying to save money.
All right. So what about that hurdle of like sort of scary going to a whole nother country where no one might speak your language? You don't know if anyone speaks English. Like, how'd you get around that?
It is a hurdle, but a lot of people, including people there, will just like pull out their Google Translate on their phone and just type something. So, but you do have to be safe, especially as a woman traveling. Just look up what some of the laws are, the crimes are. Just be safe, always be aware. It just depends, but the language barrier, it is a thing, but in the touristy areas, it's really, most people do speak at least some English. Yeah.
So, but regardless, it's very well possible to get find your way around.
Yeah.
Mm. Especially
is.
if you're in a safe place.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
Yeah. And it's really fun to ask locals for suggestions. That's what I like to do.
Huh.
Most of my trips, I don't plan a single thing before. I just go, I show up. And then I let things just unfold.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's a
Very
beautiful
good.
thing about it, huh?
Yeah.
Like you probably don't want to have everything planned to have the best experience.
Yeah, exactly. My mom was such a planner. She would always plan like start to finish 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And so I became like so the opposite of that.
And that's where you're like, I can't wait till I go alone.
Yeah, that's really what it was. I think that's what it was. But yeah.
Awesome. And another hobby of yours is yoga,
Mm-hmm.
which transitions into wellness.
Yes.
There was a lot of notes I had on the topic of wellness, but when I say wellness, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Just like self-care in all different areas, like taking care of yourself through what you do, what you eat, how you spend your time, like just like a lifestyle that's has a lot of self-care incorporated in it, I think. Wellness is a very overused term. So it can mean a lot of different things, but that's what I think of.
Awesome. You mentioned relationships, and I thought it might be a valuable question and one I think you might be willing to answer based on previous conversations. How have you grown in that department?
Mm-hmm. I've grown a lot. So when I was younger, I was a really cute kid, and then puberty hit, and I was really not cute anymore for until I was like 22 or 3 or 4 maybe. And so so that whole time period, like I didn't have any confidence. I didn't think anyone liked me. I liked every guy that I ever spoke to, but I don't think any of them liked me back. And so in college, I started to drink a bit. And actually before that, growing up, I was like the first generation that just had like the internet really. And I had a lot of internet friends, and I would sort of like talk to guys online. Looking back, it was a little sketch and unsafe, but that was really where I got the validation from, I guess, so that I could go and be okay in regular day-to-day life and like not feel bad about myself, which is kind of embarrassing, but it's the truth.
I did that beforehand.
No, I know.
Just so
it's
we're
totally
clear.
fine. But yeah, so I talked to guys online. That was a big part of my like young adulthood. I would escape online because like things at home weren't always the best, and so that was my escape, and that was my double life. And then it turned into real life because I got a boyfriend online right before college, and then it was like a normal real relationship, and then he visited me and a few times, and I don't know, it was the beginning of college, but then after that relationship ended, I started drinking more. I was in college. I started dating, and that's when I started to get confidence in myself, like, oh, I'm not that bad looking. I just, I wasn't as bold before, I guess. And then I had a lot of dating experiences through college and through my young adult life, and a lot of them were not good, obviously. I didn't know how to approach those situations, and alcohol involved is not always the best. Alcohol and other things involved were not the best. And a lot of the guys just didn't, weren't, because I had low self-esteem, I think, like, I accepted bad treatment, like lying in relationships and just them not really wanting to commit to me or not giving me a set answer of what they wanted and sort of just stringing me along. And so I dealt with that for a long time and just made bad decision after bad decision. And then in 2020, I actually, and I never talk about this, but I was sexually assaulted, and it really made me just reflect on everything that I'd done. And it wasn't my fault, but I had made so many bad decisions that led up to it. And like, just drinking on the first date, not getting a clear picture of who this person was, not listening to red flags, putting myself in an unsafe environment with him. And so all that really changed everything for me and like started my wellness journey and my healing journey. And it just changed how I approached dating and like how I approached taking care of myself. And like, I was just careless with my body and with like my health and all those things. And so that really changed a lot for me. And after that, I only had a few relationships. So it was one like a few years after, and that one was a lot better. I waited a long time before like moving to the next step, and I was still like a little broken in that relationship. But then I met my boyfriend now, probably like 3 years later, and it's like the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. He really cares about me. He's really committed, and yeah, it's nice to be on the other end of it now for sure.
Hmm. What would you say? Because you mentioned the glow up.
Yeah.
So I'll refer to that as like the glow up, because it's a very
Yeah.
powerful one. You know. What advice might you offer to somebody who is in a similar state that you were in when you were in college? Like, what is it that they're gonna have to go through or learn in
Yeah.
order to get to where you are now? And you're still working on it. Like,
Yeah.
you're still on the upward trajectory with it. Like, you haven't reached what you probably hope is your peak.
Yeah.
Yet.
I hope not. Yeah. I think like it's just like learning self-respect, but also learning from your mistakes and not making the same mistakes over and over. But it's okay to have fun and be young. Just be safe and respect yourself, because at the end of the day, you give so much power away by not respecting yourself and by letting people mistreat you and by um, doing things that are harmful for your body and just putting yourself in bad situations. And that's something that you learn with time and maturity, and like a lot of people go through that.
But that's what that self-respect looks like, is like treating your body well, maybe going to sleep at a good time, for
Yeah,
instance.
definitely. My health journey is like also like I have had struggles with body image and all those things, and I used to binge eat, just like eat my feelings. Like I didn't know how to process my feelings, but I knew how to eat. So I would eat a lot, and then that affected how I looked and how I felt. And I think just taking care of yourself in all aspects, like eating right for your body, learning about your body because everyone's needs are different, and then also not repressing things. Like a big thing I learned in my wellness journey was to not repress or like stop myself from doing something or diet or whatever. It's just like listen to your body, take care of it, and try to make good choices overall, but also give yourself grace. So there's a lot of things: sleep, eating, exercise, getting time outside, time with good people in your life, people you trust. So there's a lot of aspects to wellness and
Yeah,
health.
and that last one you brought up, I was gonna ask, did you find that like your friend group was contributing to like this negative like equation going on?
Good question. I think, yes, looking back, they were. I was in a situation with my friends that kind of reminded me of my relationship with my dad, in the sense that they were 1 second away from snapping or getting in a mood or something, and I was always on edge. And so a lot of my friendships were just like me trying to please them or me doing what they wanted, or like letting them kind of have their control, because I knew what it was like to be around someone who needs control. And so I got so used to that dynamic. And so I didn't really have, when your nervous system is just like always kind of hyperactive, it's hard to focus on what do I need, what do I want, what do I feel. And so
It
I
was
was always
trapped.
I was always in like relationships or situations that made me feel that way. Not with guys. With guys it was different, but with girls that was a lot of what I experienced, yeah.
So with your friends, did you back then find that, like, what was keeping you there? Like, what was, and what like attracted you? Like, I'm guessing there was something that sort of like covered this underlying negativity there.
Yeah, it was like comfort with that dynamic, and the fact that they knew they made me feel special because I could handle them when a lot of people couldn't, in a way, because I was used to those moods, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, because so I could manage them really well, and it probably enabled that behavior, and I also felt safe in feeling special with them. It was like it was just a
Yeah,
dysfunctional
cause yeah,
situation.
and that was the thing. Like we're dysfunctional, but we're like the same dysfunctional.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like a kinship towards you because of this dysfunction.
Yeah, it was familiarity
And
for sure.
you could see obviously like that's, well, you can connect with somebody on that level, But you think about it, you could also see that taking a very negative path and like perpetuating that negativity, whatever form it came in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's very valuable one because they say you're the sum of the five closest people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people overlook that or overlook how that's even possible
Yeah.
or how this person's actions or the way they act trickles into my mentality and causes me to act away. But did you find that in the glow up is when you wound up like moving on from this friend group too?
Yeah, it all like at once. I lost so many friends.
See, and I just took a guess.
Yeah. Really like meditation helped me too, because then you start to like see your thoughts, and then you start to see your patterns, and figuring out your patterns is the biggest thing. Like I would go in the same pattern over and over again, the same type of situation over and over again. But once you can see yourself from like an outsider perspective almost, then you start to see, oh, why am I going this? Oh, this, I get this from this, or whatever it is, whatever you get from the situation, and then you can choose to take different steps. So that's my advice, is like learn your patterns. But
And that's where meditation helps.
yeah, meditation helps to like, you're just not living as unconsciously because you're taking the time to listen to yourself almost. It also helps you listen to your body, like what does my body need? What am I craving? What would be good for me? What makes me feel good when I eat? What doesn't? So it really helps to like listen to yourself almost. That's probably, yeah. But yeah, before I moved here, like beginning stages or so of my glow up, I lost so many friends at once. Like,
Nice.
yeah, nice. It was nice, but it was hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Leaning towards like the meditation part of it.
Yeah.
One, like how'd you or where was your mind at when starting that? Like how were you looking at it, or how when you like first tried to sit down and do it? Like what was going through your head?
A lot of thoughts, and I was living alone in 2020 when I kind of sort of started this journey. I was living alone, and it was COVID, so I had a lot of time with myself, and it was just like a war zone in my head. Like, it was like I was alone, but I was with 10 people in my mind, just always chattering and talking to me.
Yeah. Shout out to COVID, by the way.
Yeah, shout out COVID. But it was really a good time for my growth, I guess, because I had all that and I had to face it all head on. Before that, I was going out every night of the week. I was working in office. Like, I didn't have any time with myself, so I didn't know what I actually felt and thought. And so that really brought everything out. And then just, I mean, it's you don't have to be strict about, oh, you have to sit here and breathe in and breathe out. It's really just spending time with yourself with no distractions and, like, being able to witness what comes up. And then if you want to add the breathing and the, closing your eyes or whatever it is, you can. And I did over time, but barely. It was really just, like, having a lot of time with myself and not running away from these different parts of me. Yeah.
Not listening to YouTube videos or
Yeah, taking that unplugged time is really helpful. And time away from people. Like, anytime you're just tempted to run to a distraction, just not is really helpful.
So what would be like not a step by step, but like one little practice you could give to somebody in regards to meditation to help them like take that step back
Yeah.
and like look at their patterns and stuff?
Yeah, I think when you want to go in head first and you feel like, oh, I can't meditate, it's very overwhelming. So I think my advice would be to just take time alone with yourself every now and then, whatever you're comfortable with, like an hour a day, like no phone, no TV, nothing. Just like sit there and hang out with yourself. No distractions, no writing, no drawing. Just literally sit there with yourself and listen to yourself and get to know yourself. And over time, you can start to try to quiet that voice, but really it's just about like, it also, that time really helps you process a lot of things that you learned, and that's when your creativity comes out too. So just, it's just good for you to like take time to process things. Yeah.
Like not watch TV.
Yeah. And things are going to come up and it's going to be really uncomfortable at first, but it's either you're uncomfortable and you face these things, or you never look at them and just keep running your whole life and distracting yourself with things that might not be the best for you. So it will go away. It's just that you need to pay attention and give those things attention. Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's a good segue towards manifestation. because I think that might be one of the initial steps, is being able to step out of what possible negativity you might be in now, and then begin to lay this groundwork to bring these things into your life that you do want. So,
Yeah.
what would you have to say about manifestation?
Yeah, it's definitely real. It's definitely possible. I think, well, like the steps of manifestation are really to get super clear on what you want, and then, like clear, like what exactly are you looking to get in your life? Because a lot of times you're just not clear. Like you might have a feeling of what you want or whatever it is, but if you're not specific, you can't really work towards that. And then take inspired action. So that means take action when you're feeling inspired, not when you're in a bad place or you're feeling afraid. So it's like if you're looking for your dream job or something, you don't want to be sending out applications when you're in a bad state of mind. It's actually better for you in those times to just take some time away and get into a better state of mind and then take that action, because you want to, every energy that you put into something is kind of what you get out of it. So if you're doing something in good energy, inspired energy, then that's what you get out of it. Um, and then also to just detach and let go of the outcome and let go of the how it's going to happen, and just like trust the process. Really, that's a big part of it. And I've definitely manifested a lot of things in my life, being in San Diego, my boyfriend, my apartment, my um, job. There's so many things. I'm a very determined person. Once I know what I want, it's like nothing can take me away from that, like tunnel vision. And that's kind of what it takes, is just like work towards it and just stay focused on that vision. And I believe that anyone can get anything that they want, really, if they want it enough and are willing to like work for it.
Yeah, I've always looked at it. Not always. I now look at manifestation in a way, considering a lot of people like it's so majestical. They describe
Yeah,
manifestation. I think you did a great job describing it in a tangible, actionable, like graspable way. And so the way I always, or the way I now look at it is like, so your thoughts lead to your behavior. Behavior becomes your actions. Your actions give you a certain result. Your results wind up going back to change or alter the beliefs that you have, which completes that loop.
exactly.
And so at any point in that loop, you can drop in some positivity, or you can drop in something to manipulate that loop. So
Exactly.
maybe I'll just change I won't go that direction to work, so I don't have to think about that thing. And you stop thinking about that thing, and other ideas come up. And those ideas might lead to be like, oh, maybe I can start my business, for instance.
Mhm.
And so that's how I think about
Yeah.
manifestation now.
That's a good point. And it's good that you brought up the like beliefs and thoughts. Yeah, because beliefs are everything. And if you want something, and you even if you want something and work for it, if you have a limiting belief deep down, like I'm not deserving of this, or you know, you're never going to get it. And then so that's a good point that I forgot about, is that you have to work through your limiting beliefs, and you have to like be aware of what limiting beliefs you have, and then work towards changing them or replacing them with, a non-limiting belief.
So you're beginning studying in a holistic wellness school.
Yes, I
Got it.
am. I'm really interested in nutrition and how it ties into like just holistic ways of wellness. I don't know if
So
that sentence makes sense.
I get it.
But I'm very fascinated with like women's hormone cycles specifically, because it's mind blowing once you realize the stuff that we were never taught about our periods, basically, and how they affect us at different times of the month and the ways we're different than men. Men run on like a 24-hour clock, so basically with the sun, and women run on a 28-day cycle, basically with the moon. But society is set up for men usually. We wake up, we do this, we do that, we sleep. So it's really fascinating once I learned about my period and the fact that like sometimes of the month I have so much energy and confidence and I'm skinny and my skin's clear and all these things, and other times of the month I am so tired, I'm breaking out, I'm like I just like literally can't get out of bed. I didn't even know any of that growing up, and even just like making bad decisions, like drinking when I'm on my period was never a good idea. There's so many things that we don't know, and I think women and men should learn this because it's really important. And men, you're gonna have a woman in your life at some point, whether it's your sister or your, spouse or daughter, or whatever it is. Like, I think it's super important for everyone to learn about, and I wish I knew that stuff too. Yeah.
So I want to ask about just in time as it pertains to you. What what's some of the biggest impact that you've experienced being connected with just in time?
I think just hearing people's stories and getting to know them on a personal level has really just made me obviously grateful for my upbringing in my life, but also just shown me that like they're no different than me, and we all have the same fears and dreams and all those things, and I don't feel like anyone's above or below anyone else. I feel like it's just, I don't know, it just feels like I'm hanging out with my friends when I come here, when I volunteer. So, but just hearing their stories, obviously, it opens my eyes to like, it just shows me how privileged I am at times, and just makes me just empathize with them and want to be a part of this program. And I love all the things Just in Time is doing. It's amazing.
Like, I love that you mentioned you're just here to inspire, and like being that older sister seems like the way that you fit into inspiring. Maybe rather than going up on like a podium and speaking to all the participants, like
Exactly.
that's your way of doing it. And like we want you to know that there is that space for you, and there's opportunities and spaces for other people listening like that too.
Yeah.
Just wanted to
That's
acknowledge
true.
that for you.
That's true. No, it's a great, like, even just seeing participants after a few different programs, and like they know me, I know them. It's like it really is a community, and I know that they feel the same way too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tamina, for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
Is there any way people can reach out to you if they want to chat with you, if they feel like they connect with you in any way?
Yeah. You can reach out to me on Instagram. It's Tamina, so Tamina, and then Nanani. So Tamina Nani on Instagram. You can message me there or email me tsabnani, tsabnani @gmail.com. I'm always open to talking or, connecting with someone from the community. So feel free to reach out.
So thank you so much, Tamina.
Thank you.
And thanks for listening to the Just in Time podcast. I will see you next time.